How to innovate better with artificial intelligence. Well, after this video, you get 5 stellar prompts you can use to increase the quality of your innovation projects. And I share 3 concrete tips to work better with artificial intelligence. So first, a short story. Large language models like Chat, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, they really changed how I work as a futurist and an innovation expert. And I will get to the innovation expert part later, but I also use these large language models in my personal life. For example, when I'm doing home improvement, I made a photo of a project, for example, building a clothes rack in the staircase. And then I have a conversation with a chatbot about, okay, give me some ideas. How can I do this? How can I make it better? How can I make it, what's the quality, the sturdiness? What are steps? So I use it in my professional life, but also in my personal life. Comment, like, and subscribe. Do you have a remark or a question? Please let me know. Give me a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So question, what's your favorite prompt for generating new ideas? Please leave a comment down below. My name is Joosten. I'm a futurist and a keynote speaker and an innovation researcher. My team is how to become future-proof. So what's heading our way? What can we do to prepare ourselves as an individual, as a team, as an organization? And I do that by giving keynote lectures, but also workshops about technology, the future, and innovation. And if you want to hire me, please send me a message. And if you want to know what is in innovation and also what are the steps in my innovation model, look on my YouTube channel for innovation model. But before we get to the prompting examples and tips, I want to share really interesting findings with you. Because what do we know about innovation, creativity, and artificial intelligence? Well, after this part, you know better the state of affairs of artificial intelligence with invention, innovation, and creativity. As a really interesting paper, in a study at the University of Toronto, 460 participants, they were instructed to propose imaginative uses for a series of everyday objects. Think of a car tire or a pair of trousers. And some could use artificial intelligence and some could not. And what was the case? Those who had been exposed to ideas generated by AI, they tended to produce answers deemed less creative and less diverse than a control group who worked unaided, so without the use of artificial intelligence. So really funny when it came to these trousers, for instance, the chatbot, they proposed stuffing a pear with hay, put hay in the trousers, to make half of a scarecrow. So in effect suggesting trousers to be reused as trousers. So that's not really creative or innovative. But a participant who was not using artificial intelligence, by contrast, they proposed, for example, sticking nuts in the pockets to make a novelty bird feeder. So that's way more creative, of course. But luckily for you, I know how you can use AI, large language models like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Copilot, etc. to make you more innovative and creative. So how can you use these chatbots, these AI systems, these large language models to innovate better and faster? Well, after this part, you are equipped with 5 concrete prompts. And in preparation, I was thinking, okay, what's an interesting case? Well, something I thought of are public toilets. I know, let's go with public toilets, just also to demonstrate the power of these 5 prompts. So the first tip is to be open. So you do not say design a new public toilet for me, but it helps. And I'm going to do a screen share. So openness, for example, helps if you put terms into the prompt like curious and unexpected. So this is my prompt. I'm curious what an ideal public toilet experiments could look like in the future. Help me explore unexpected directions, culturally, technological, and emotional. So interesting what I see, cultural, from shame to pride. So in Japan, toilets are a sign of refinement. Community hubs, technological biometric feedback, sanitation, immersive AR. Okay, that's interesting. A micro oasis, social signaling. Okay, like a coffee shop visit. Yeah, that's interesting. What if a toilet could vanish? I like that he also puts in the provocations, and it already comes up with scenarios. By the way, I do this in ChatGPT, but you can also use, like I said, Claude, Copilot, Gemini, Perplexity. So the first tip is to be open. Then the second tip is to challenge assumptions. So one assumption could be, if we talk about what frustrates people the most when they use a public toilet before, during, and after. So this is also, where you challenge these assumptions. So before, finding one, accessibility, payment barriers. So these are all starting points for your own creative process, for your own innovation process maybe. During, also safety, touching surfaces, and smell, the social stigma. So the second tip is challenge assumptions, and that can be a waypoint for you, a starting point for you to also come up with your own associations and ideas. The third tip you can use in your prompts is to add constraints. So one constraint could be, in this case, financial. So my prompt is, what would a relatively better public toilet experience look like if we could only spend 500 euros or dollars per location? So it comes up with some principles. Before entry, simple line markers, smell control also with the with the finance, locker reliability, soap redundancy. So, and it also goes on the prompt I asked before about before, during, and also after. So that's also, of course, when I would start a new chat, it also come up with new ideas. So maybe I'll do that here. All right, then the fourth prompt is that you think of scenarios. And I'm also a strategic foresight expert, so I know how to make scenarios and also what's the use of scenarios. And if you're interested in the combination of these strategic applied foresight, futures research with artificial intelligence, I also made a video about that. So look on my website for artificial intelligence tools to do futures research. So if we use scenarios in our prompt, this would be an interesting scenario. It's not only a future scenario, but this is a scenario. Describe a typical day for a person with anxiety who avoids public toilets. How could design reduce stress in their journey? So what it states is a typical day with toilet anxiety. A morning, they limit their water or coffee to avoid needing a bathroom later. The commute, the work, the evening. And some design interventions are about privacy and autonomy, safety, transparency, wayfinding, inclusive design, psychological comfort. So yeah, it's also good. A good prompt is to think in scenarios. And the last prompt advice I want to give you, number 5, is to use extreme cases. So you can go really bizarre or strange, because it's about getting ideas. I think this is funny. What would Barbie design if she had to create a luxury public toilet in a dystopian future? So there are two strange elements in this scenario, Barbie and dystopian future. So we'll see what the large language model comes up with. It's about aesthetic escapism, identity and empowerment. So we have a neon pink holographic sign is glowing. Capsules instead of stalls, fully enclosed pods with soundproofing, soft rose lighting, plush sheeting. Yeah, so it's really interesting to use also these extreme cases to get ideas. Besides these prompts, what are tips to get better innovation ideas with artificial intelligence? Well, after this part, you increase the quality of your innovation ideas a notch. So the first piece of advice is that you can also ask a large language model how to make a better prompt. So I'll give you an example. So this is something I do quite a lot. To give you an example, I want to make an awesome prompt. It's just something you can ask of your chatbot, your AI large language model. So this is, I want to make an awesome prompt. What do you need from me as a user to get more creative ideas from you based on your knowledge of these large language models? And I can also add things to that, like for example, my speciality is government or fast-moving consumer goods or whatever, or you say I want to be inspired by science fiction. That's also the you can, and add, the more you add to this prompt, the better better answer you get that you can use as a prompt for the next time. Let's engineer it together. So what do you actually want? The scenario, an outline, ideas, what's the setting, like I mentioned, what are the constraints? Well, I also asked, was one of my prompt tips, what are the inspiration sources, how crazy do you want it to be, what is the format? So also what the model says, the more detail, add more fuel to me. All right, and that's also a nice segue to my next piece of advice, namely how to treat these AI tools. So another piece of advice is to see artificial intelligence not as a tool, but as a teammate. Just as you think of a situation where you get a new colleague and you have to train the new colleague and he's delivering a report or something else, then you provide feedback to that colleague, like this part is good, that part is not on par with our standards and because of this and this and this. And maybe you can also look at this report as an example to base your next iterations on. So the same way you interact with a human, with a colleague, it's kind of resembles how you should also look at artificial intelligence, these large language models. So you see them as a sort of a colleague where you give feedback, you go back and forth. So do not see artificial intelligence as a tool, as an instrument, but as a colleague, sort of a teammate. And my third advice point is, what is your context? Your context is king. So what I mean by that, I like this quote by Andrej Karpathy. He's an autopilot vision Tesla, and he was also co-founder of OpenAI. And he speaks of context engineering. So not prompt engineering, but context engineering. And he states, context engineering is the delicate art and science of filling the context window with just the right information for the next step. So that's really important. That's what you bring to the table. It's your perspective, your knowledge, your experience, you as a person. If you think that the output of a large language model or chatbot is too bland, too normal, then you have to add more of your personality, your experience, your examples for the chatbot, really to be more creative and also based on your own associations. So it's a sort of interplay between you or your innovation team with artificial intelligence. So back to my story. I use these chatbots, AI tools to also do my own home improvement projects. But in the end, I still have to do the work myself. And that's, I think, a nice metaphor and also a parable for innovation. It's really still important, that human element. You have to cooperate with your colleagues, maybe with customers, maybe with suppliers. You still have to make the products, make the services, adjust the work processes yourself. So let me know, what's your favorite prompt to generate new ideas? Leave a comment down below. My favorite prompt is, I think, my first piece of advice, that I ask of the large language model, what do you need from me? So you can have better output, more creative ideas for me. So thanks for watching. You want to hire me for a keynote presentation, consultancy or webinar, please send me a message. Comment, like and subscribe. Do you have a remark or a question? Please let me know. Give me thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel.